I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I know my soul is at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place
All right. Please take your seats. And now it's my opportunity to say good morning.
Good morning.
Really? Good morning.
Good morning.
Much better. So wonderful to welcome you on this very first Sunday in September and to see your smiley faces. I also want to welcome those of you who may be tuning in on our YouTube channel this morning. We thank you for being with us. We wish we could have you here in person, but we will take you any way that we can get you. And just a quick note, we are aware of ongoing problems with the sound occasionally buzzing out during the service. For those of you on YouTube, trust me, we are really diligently working on this. Please bear with us and please stay with us. I would also like to take this moment to remind everybody to silence your cell phones so we could get through the service without any interruptions. And let me ask, are there any first-time visitors with us this morning? Anybody with us for the very first time? We have a gentleman there, Joey. Thank you for being with us. We are glad to welcome you. And if you have any questions, you could probably ask just anybody, in the congregation, and I certainly will be available to you after the service if you have anything that you would like to inquire about. And because it's the first Sunday of the month, it is Birthday Sunday. So I would like to invite everybody who is celebrating a birthday in the month of September to please step forward so that we may bless you in song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, you're wonderful. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you, you're wonderful. God is blessing you now. And remember our tradition, if it's your birthday, it's your turn to buy. So just keep that in mind. And with that, I would like to invite our prayer chaplain, Wanda Fay, to please come forward and share with us today's daily word.
Well, now y'all know I'm shy, so. No way. Good morning, beautiful people. Oh, ease is our daily word for today. Ease. Beholding God in every circumstance helps me know ease. It's easy for me to find God in the glory of a sunshine and in the laughter of children, and to feel God's love as I get together with friends or family. Wherever there is wonder, joy, or fellowship, God is surely present. I remember that God is just as surely present when my responsibilities feel overwhelming, when conflict arises in a relationship, or when it feels as though there isn't enough of what I need. If I begin to feel tense, fearful, or frustrated, I remember that wisdom, love, understanding, and strength, all of the divine qualities that live within me, are ready to help me handle any challenge. Assured by my awareness of God's presence, I move with ease and grace through whatever this day brings. And from Proverbs 1:33, those who listen to me will be secure and will live at ease without dread or disaster. Beholding God in every circumstance helps me know ease. Good morning, beautiful people.
Thank you, Wanda Fay. And now I invite everybody to please join with me in praying our Spirit's unfolding vision prayer. Guided by divine wisdom, inspired by divine imagination, centered in divine love, and knowing that God is our source, we boldly move forth in faith as we allow Spirit's expanding vision to unfold in our lives, the life of the spiritual community, and throughout our world. Thank you, God. Amen. And now that you're nice and comfy sitting there, I'm going to invite you to please return to your feet and join in singing and praying the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory
Please take your seats. And now may I please call forth our children and your sponsors so that we may bless you. Please join with me. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, we behold the Christ in you, and know that you are empowered to do great things. Powerful, creative, spiritual being. You are a powerful, creative, spiritual being.
You can create anything you
What is life? You can create anything you want. It's life.
The universe is on your side. You are love. On your side. You are love. You are love. You are love. You are love.
Feels like I came alive just yesterday. Feels like I'm always gonna feel this way.
Hearts have been set in motion, worlds have been turned around. When you've been lost, you know when you have found.
Easy to hide and live your life apart. Easy to find new ways to kill the heart.
Now to do some changes, laughter as well as pain. Now I can dance in sunshine or in rain. and follow me. And you're gonna be dancing too. In your eyes I see you're alive as me. So whenever I'm lost, then I can follow you. Too many people throw it all away. Can't seem to take another empty day.
The trick is to keep believing. The trick is to simply see
Just how great the gift of life can be. Come and follow me to wherever the light breaks through. Come and follow me, and you're gonna be dancing too. In your eyes I see you're alive as me. So whenever I'm lost, then I can follow you. Just when your life seems to be going good,
you will be there, I know, like a true friend, helping me shine again.
shine again.
Come and follow me
to wherever the light breaks through. Come and follow me. You're gonna be dancing too. In your eyes I see you're alive as me. So whenever I'm lost, then I can follow you.
Come and follow me.
Come and follow me.
Come and follow me.
Come and follow me. In your eyes I see you're alive as me. So whenever I'm lost, then I can follow you. In your eyes I see you're alive as me. So whenever I'm lost, then I can follow you. So whenever I'm lost, then I can follow you.
Well, I do have a short story for you this morning, because I know how you hate it when I don't give you a short story to start this thing off. And there was this young man who applied for a job, and he was being interviewed by the recruiter, and the recruiter asked, he said, "Let me ask you a question." He says, "If we make you an offer for this job, what kind of a salary do you anticipate?" And the young man said, "I don't see me starting for less than $150,000 a year." And the recruiter said, "Well, how does this sound to you? What if we gave you a package that included that salary, 5 weeks paid vacation, 15 paid holidays every year, an IRA plan in which we match the funds up to 50% of your salary, complete medical coverage including dental, and how about a company car every 2 years, maybe a nice Tesla or a Porsche?" And the young man said, "You got to be kidding." And he said, "Yeah, but you started it." Well, here we are on the Labor Day weekend, and our topic today is short circuit. And tomorrow we will be celebrating the holiday of Labor Day, in which we should at least be formulating some consciousness of acknowledgement and honor and respect for people who do the work. But it always wasn't like this. Getting Labor Day to be established as a federal holiday was a really significant battle that lasted for decades, and it was adopted first in some states and not in others, and on and on and on it went. And at some point, the movement even grew violent in certain areas. In fact, probably the most memorable of those violent occurrences took place right here in Chicago with the Haymarket Square affair or the Haymarket Square riots. Because on that occasion, the demonstrators or protesters, whatever you want to call them, somebody had a bright idea to throw a bomb, which ended up killing 4 policemen. And of course that was followed by gunshots fired into the crowd in which people were killed. And a handful of people ended up being tried and convicted and sentenced to death by hanging. So why am I telling you this story? As a result of that occurrence and that news spread throughout the entire nation, there was a backlash, a pushback, in which people who were promoting and in favor of advancing the cause of labor workers actually did a reversal and did a step back. And just as a sidebar to the talk today, there's a lesson there that if you are going to be about doing the work, if you are about doing things to make changes in your life, doing things to involve enhancing your spiritual work, you may fully expect pushback. Because people are going to notice this as it becomes manifest in even some small ways, and we really don't like change, even if it's not in us. And so you may expect that along that way. But in the end, if you really expect and anticipate and hope for and believe in that making a change in your life is going to make a change in the world, then your truth is your truth, and you really don't have much alternative other than to live it if you really want to birth something that's great and something that's wonderful in the world. The word work, that's a 4-letter word that comes with all kinds of baggage to it. Some of it good, some of it not so much. For some, it is a very vulgar 4-letter word. I remember immediately after my sophomore year in high school, I was sitting on the corner with my good friend doing absolutely nothing, and I said to him, "Joey, I think tomorrow we should go out and look for a job." To which he immediately said, "No." And I said, "Why not?" And he says, "Well, the problem with looking for a job is that you may find one." So we spent that summer wallowing away, okay? And also, when I was in the business world, I was trying to give kind of a little motivational talk to one of my employees about maybe putting a little bit more of herself into the work, a bigger investment. And I was told straight out, "I don't live to work. I work to live." And I said, "Okay, I get that." Well, the fact of the matter is, when you start talking about work on a spiritual level, those two statements are really distinctions without a difference, because living and working go hand in hand. And since forever, and I mean thousands of years, we have conveniently put the blame for all of the hard work that we have to do, setting an alarm, getting up in the morning, whether it's to shovel coal or you work as a word processor or an attorney or a doctor, whatever. We have always put the blame for having to go through all of that on Adam and Eve, the apple, and that darn snake. But the fact of the matter is, and I hope we can move to that point today, we should not be cursing those characters, if indeed they truly had been responsible in some way, but rather we should be blessing them. And so I want to talk about two stories in the Gospels that relate to our topic today. The first is the story about the workers in the vineyard. And in the story, there is this wealthy landowner who goes out very early in the morning, and he gathers together a group of men and invites them to come and work in the vineyard, his vineyard. And he says that if you come and you give me a full day's work, I will pay each of you 1 denarius. And they say, we're in. And they go into the vineyard. And then about 9 o'clock in the morning, the landowner goes back out into the town and he sees another group of people that are standing around not doing anything. And he says, come and work in my vineyard, and at the end of the day, I will give you a full wage. And they too agree to come. And he does this again at noon, and he does it again about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he finally does it about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And when it was all done for the day, he tells his foreman, pay each of them, starting with the last group first and working backwards. And so they come forward, and they each get a denarius. And the people who were there all day, they're salivating. You know, these guys showed up at 5 o'clock and they're getting a denarius. Like, we must be getting so much more than what we were told. Sound fairer to me. But what the landowner ends up saying to them is, why are you unhappy? In effect, he's telling them, we had a deal, and the deal was honored. Besides which, it's my money. Why would you try to deprive me of the happiness of using it and spending it the way that I want to? Well, to try to make a little bit of sense out of this whole thing, getting into the metaphysics a bit, the landowner represents God or spirit or divine mind, whatever way you wish to look at it in terms of what resonates with you as the ground of your own being. And the vineyard represents the kingdom of heaven. And the workers then are invited in. And there's a real fascinating aspect to them. And throughout the story, the landowner isn't a headhunter. He's not going and pilfering labor from IBM, or from Apple or from Google or something like that. He's getting people that are really busy doing nothing. And so if we were to somehow make this analogous to today, maybe, the landowner would be coming to those of us who are kind of watching the time and saying, is it lunchtime yet? I'm done with the paper. How many hours before dinner? And boy, I can't wait to turn that television on and catch, the ball game or the football game. Or my favorite television program, Wheel of Fortune is on tonight. And if those examples seem a little bit strange to you, I will share with you that I'm putting a lot of myself into this story, okay? Because one of the things that we work really hard at is killing time to pass the day away in a non-productive, meaningful way. And I'm not criticizing rest in periods of time to collect yourself or anything like that, but for the purposes of the lesson today, for the message today, I'm trying to ring a bell that maybe resonates with some of you in terms of, for God's sakes, pick up a book, or doing something meaningful in your life. Well, the metaphysics of the denarius. This, of course, was a form of money way back then. So we could randomly just say, well, it was equivalent to $1 for working in the field. But this part is really significant. It wasn't the denarius, it wasn't the dollar. It was a representation, it was a manifestation that invariably happens when we engage in work in the kingdom. In some way, shape, or form, it shows up in our lives. So if we're doing that work in the kingdom, we may all of a sudden find ourselves in a place of forgiving somebody that we've had a grudge against for 10 years. And you might wonder where that came from. It's a denarius, okay? Or you may just consciously, all of a sudden, find yourself in the supermarket engaging with somebody that you see in friendly conversation, giving them a twinkle of your eyes or sharing a smile with them. That's a denarius. If all of a sudden you're more mindful and there's an awareness in your head, I've been mailing it in this relationship. I really love her, I really love him, but the fact of the matter is, if I'm working in the kingdom, I can make this something so much more. And if that's the case, that's a denarius. An old British minister, by the name of Leonard Ravenhill once said, "The opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of the opportunity." The opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of that opportunity. Your life, your very life, is literally an opportunity of a lifetime. And that lifetime consists of thousands and thousands of other opportunities that you can seize as they come along. And they have an expiry date to them. And so as we move into the autumn of our years, or even are lying on a deathbed, we're not going to have regrets about the things that we've done. We are going to have regrets about those opportunities that we let the expiry date come and go. And by the way, anybody here ever clean out a refrigerator? Okay. I don't do it often. Thank you, Susan. But I have done it, and one of the most depressing things to me is to turn something upside down and say, oh, that should have been eaten 6 months ago, and into the garbage bag, and oh my God, what a waste. Okay? It's really interesting. Back in the early to maybe mid-60s, Pope John the 23rd decided he was going to hold an ecumenical council. And symbolically, as I understand, he went to a window in the Vatican and he opened the window to signify it's time to let in some fresh air. And over the years, some people have taken advantage of that open window. Others, not so much. In our way shower, Jesus, in the Gospel of John, tells us, don't work for food that's going to spoil. Work for food that is going to give you eternal life. See, the tricky thing is about the denarius, in its ideal state, it is exactly that. It's a manifestation of hard work that you've put into a situation. But our topic today is short circuit. And if instead your focus, your mindset, your concentration, your consciousness is about accumulating the denarii. Are you impressed with that plural? Okay. Instead of what brought the denarii into your life. So the things that you gather, the thing that you hoard, the thing that you stay up night worrying about now, because see, there's this built-in inherent knowing that it's very fragile and ultimately is temporary and ultimately it's going to disappear no matter how hard we try to hang on to it and clutch onto it. It's going to go away. But if we understand and we've done the work in the vineyard, if we understand that we've done the work in the kingdom, we understand that it is a symbol of that incredibly sacred, divine, loving energy, which can never be destroyed, which can never be eliminated, which can never, ever, ever go away. One of the significant parts of the story is that the people that showed up at 5 o'clock got the same amount of payment that the people did that were there from sunrise. Because the lesson for us here is, we could fall into that temptation of saying, you know what, that ship has sailed. All I want now in life is to sit around and watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy or things like that. It's gone. And the message there in that parable is Spirit never gives up. Spirit never stops inviting you to get on board, to join in as soon as you possibly can, make up your mind to accept the invitation. There's a denarius waiting for you. This past week, Susan and I went to Michigan for a few days. At the beginning of the year, my daughters got together and they bought this very, very small, modest, wonderful house about 25 miles into Michigan. And we went there. And I went there with an intention of painting their porch for them. I wanted to do this. And we got there, and there I was, still hobbling around with my brace from a sprained ankle. In over a 4-day span, I first power washed that porch, and then frankly said, oh my God, what did I do? It didn't all come off, and it's all uneven now. So the next day, I spent the entire day with a hand orbital sander going over every square inch of that porch. And then after that, and it healed a bit, I put 2 coats of primer on that porch. After every single day of doing this, when I was finished, I was soaked head to toe. There wasn't a dry spot on me. And while I was doing this, perspiration was dripping off of my forehead, off the tip of my nose. It was running into my eyes and burning like crazy. And when it was all said and done every single night, I felt absolutely wonderful. I absolutely was elated and full of joy. Because what I came to appreciate is that work that I did was an incredibly, significantly, powerfully type of prayer that I was engaged in. And I never had a concept in my head about God or talking to God. But there was just a realization that I don't care what you're doing. At some point, break the routine. At some point, ask yourselves, what meaningful work is there available for me to do? And my kids were texting me saying, Dad, stop it, just relax. Don't do any more work. But see, they didn't understand that my motivation in doing that was an incredibly high regarded sensitivity to the blessing that I have, that, and having them as my daughters in my life. Because any work that is prompted or motivated by love is work in the kingdom. And I want to tell you, before it was all said and done, yeah, it was perspiration coming down my face, but I swear I regarded it as a type of holy water. It really, really is an experience that I will cherish, even though I failed. I didn't get the actual coat of paint onto the porch. Okay, and there's a lesson to that too. It doesn't matter. Because everything that we are doing really is a concert of, an unfinished symphony. And everything that we do is jumping through a window of opportunity. There's a difference between working hard and working smart. Work done without a sense of purpose is work done that's in captivity or slavery. But when you're working smart, you're working, there's an awareness on some level that what you're doing is divine work, that is a connection that makes all of the difference in the world. And so I want to move on to the second parable here. And that is, this is the parable about the talents. And in this story, a very wealthy man is going to go away on a trip, and before he goes, he calls in 3 of his servants, and he says, I'm going to be going away, and I want to give you something that's under your care while I'm gone. And to the first servant, he gives 10 talents. And to the second servant, he gives 5 talents. And to the third servant, he gives a single talent. And he goes away, and he comes back, and he wants an accounting. So he calls them in, and the servant that got 10 talents, he said, tell me what you did. He said, Master, I took your 10 talents, and I worked them. I invested them, and they doubled, and now I am returning to you 20 talents. And to the second servant, he said, Master, I too invested it and worked with the talents that you gave me, and I doubled them, and now I'm giving back to you 10 talents. And the third servant said, Master, I know how you are, and I was afraid that I was going to lose what you gave me to take care of. So to be sure that I wouldn't lose it, I took it and I buried it. The master was delighted with the first 2 servants and infuriated with the third servant, and instructed his staff to take away that talent from him, give it to the person who had 10 talents originally, and put it under his stewardship, and that servant was thrown out of the kingdom. I don't know. Well, I do. We all have that part of us that we really feel we have to hide our talents a lot, okay? Because maybe somebody who really, really loved us said, you know what? I hear you singing, don't quit your day job. Okay, you can't sing. you're not good enough, you're not big enough, you're not strong enough, you're not smart enough. And so instead of showing our talents and investing our talents, we bury them, we hide them. Did you ever turn a little child loose with a piece of blank paper and a box of crayons and just let him or her do their thing? And they go about this and they're completely uninhibited. And it may look at the end, you might say, oh, that's a beautiful picture of a mountain. No, it's not a mountain, it's Daddy's stomach. But the point is, it's unabashed, and it's free, and it's flowing, and it's investing solidly into the kingdom of heaven. Each and every one of you, I don't care how small it is in your heads or in reality, you can't sit on it. If you sit on it, that's going to be another one of those open windows that you just walked by. Because let me tell you something, Spirit is opening windows for us all day long, every day in our lives. And if you're not seeing it, it's because you don't want to see it. And so, if you open your eyes, though, and you dare to take a look at the invitation to develop your talents or to work in the vineyard, once you open your eyes and see it, see, I understand why we keep our eyes closed sometimes, because we realize that once you open your eyes and see it, you understand that you are being commissioned to do the work that you are being called to do in your lifetime. It could be pretty scary. It really can. You know, it's absolutely wonderful to verbalize and express an affirmation that I am loved and blessed in full abundance. But there's a difference between saying, acknowledging that I am blessed in such abundance, and saying, I am that abundance of love and giving and peace, or whatever wonderful thing that you might think exists in the world. Being blessed really doesn't take a whole heck of a lot of work. Giving blessings in all that you do, in your everyday lives, in such subtle little ways, yeah, that's work. So with that, I invite you, let's roll up our sleeves and go to prayer.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary sanctuary for you.
I invite you now to sit back and relax. You're going to be doing a little bit different form of work. The work of listening. The work of going deep within yourself. The work of pushing aside all of that noise, all of that nonsense about how little you are, how unworthy you are, how you have nothing to offer. And it is work to deny all of those things and push them aside. And you're being invited now to do the work of taking every one of your problems and your troubles and your worries and push those aside as well and just say, not now. I'll pick you up at the door on my way out maybe, but not now. And to get ready for this work, I invite you just to take a deep breath. Inhale. With your inhale, begin to hear what it is that you are commissioned to do in the kingdom of God. And let it out. And take yet another deep breath. And again, as you feel your lungs filling with air, with oxygen, you feel yourself filled with spirit. You feel yourself filled with the love in which you are so profoundly held. And you ask the question, dear God, dear Lord, dear Spirit, I'm listening. Share with me now, please. What is it that is mine to do? Take another breath. Go a little bit deeper. And pray, affirming the openness of your soul, the openness of your heart, and yes, the openness of your mind. And with yet another breath, you affirm, you give witness, you bear testimony that there is but one God, one power, one source, active in the universe and in your life. And in that knowing and in that realization, you dare to allow yourself to feel the warmth, the comfort, the peace that comes with the bond between you and the oneness, knowing that there is no separation, no distance, no difference between that reality of spirit and that Christ light that dwells within. So, in this special safe sanctuary, I invite you now just to really be fully present in the silence. And now, softly, gently, lovingly, I invite you to return your attention to this manifestation of the sanctuary in which we dwell, that we share together this morning. And I affirm that you come back with a healthier, happier, maybe even a little bit scarier appreciation of who you are and what it is that you are called to do. All workers need rest. And you know now that that sanctuary is available for you, to you, as many times, as often as you may need to go there. And for this experience together, whatever it may mean to each and every one of us separately, individually, we are grateful. And we are grateful as we acknowledge our shared oneness and the reality of Spirit made incarnate in each and every one of us. And we say, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Amen. This takes us to the time of our service, the time of our love offering. We are grateful for your contributions. We are grateful for your dollars and cents. They truly make a difference in all kinds of ways which maybe aren't so visible. But most of all, we give you thanks for being a denarius, a living reflection of doing the sacred work of Spirit. And so please join with me in praying our affirmations. God is my instant, constant, abundant source of supply, and divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all the good that I am, I have, I give, and I receive. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all the good that we are, we have, we give, and we receive.
Well, we have a new song to present, one of Juliet's, and she's going to talk a little bit about it before we do it.
At Unity, we really honor the one power working through all the different religions of the world and all the spiritual traditions. So this is an interfaith chant in 7 different languages. And in case we're not all linguists, I thought I might just tell you what the different phrases mean. So the first one you're probably familiar with, it's Om Mani Padme Hum, which is a Sanskrit phrase, and it's the core mantra of Tibetan Buddhism, and apparently now is one of the most popular mantras in the world. That means the universal power of compassion and wisdom. The second one is Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, which is a Latin Christian prayer, means Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy. Then the third one is shalom, which you may be familiar with. It's Hebrew, means peace from the Judaism. The fourth one is Satnam, which means a true reality, and it's the main mantra from the Sikh religion and from some forms of yoga and meditation. Wakantanka is Lakota for the Great Spirit or the Great Mystery. And Salam is a Muslim prayer for peace in Arabic. And lastly, Hare Rama, which is a Hindu mantra or chant, and speaks of the creative energy of God, which you may be familiar with from George Harrison's song, My Sweet Lord. Om Mani Padme Hum Kyrie eleison Shalom Satanam. One world, one God. Great Spirit Wakantanka Christe eleison Salam Hare Rama. One earth, one love. Om Mani Padme Hum Kyrie eleison Shalom Satanam. One world, one God. Great Spirit Wakantanka Christe eleison Salam Hare Rama. One earth, one love. Om Shalom Salam Satnam. Om Shalom Salam Satnam. Om Shalom Salam Satnam. Om Shalom Salam Satnam. Hallelujah. 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 Shalom Satanam. One world, one God. Om Mani Padme Hum Kyrie eleison Shalom Satanam. One world, one God.
Thank you, music team. You guys, I say it every week, but you guys truly are wonderful. We now have some announcements to share with you, some of the activities that are going on in our church. We hope you brought your skates today and your helmets, because skate, and the sun has come out for the occasion. Skate in the lot is today after the service. Please stay and enjoy the fun. If you didn't bring your skates and a helmet, you could go out there and cheer the children on, if nothing else. The last chance to sign up for the next class, Bible Interpret Hebrew Scriptures, is today. In this class, it's a good class. Students will learn metaphysical interpretations and applications of meanings that have value in a practical way to your everyday life. The opening ceremony of the World Day of Prayer is Wednesday, and that is online with the village. An email with the information will be sent out tomorrow evening. Then come and join us in the sanctuary this Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning for our service. And because of the World Day of Prayer, this week's coffee and tea will be held at 11 instead of 10:30. This Friday, September 9th at 7 p.m. is our Healing and Wholeness service. It's a service that's an affirmation of who we are, our wholeness and good health through song and prayer. If you have questions, contact Rose. And for the whole month of September, all in-stock Young Living items will be reduced by 25%. Please stop at our Young Living table outside the church office and pick up what you need. That concludes our announcements. I invite you now to return to your feet, turn to one another across the aisle, and confer upon one another our congregational blessing, and then remain standing for a prayer of protection and our peace song. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you and know that you are empowered to do great things. In our prayer of protection, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, for peace that was meant to be. With God ever faithful, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Yeah. That was good program.